generally one of the first things that they do.
The company spokesperson didn't say how many employees will lose.
We'll start with call of the roll. Alder Close. Kim? Joe?
Here.
Kevin? And I'm Jerry Jones, Vice Chair in the Mayor's absence. If you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any potential topics of conflict of interest from the commission members? Great, moving on. We'll take approval of the Plan Commission minutes from March 10th, 2026. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved and properly seconded to approve the minutes of the 10th under discussion. There's no further discussion. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearings. For those in attendance, this is the public hearing portion of the agenda. We will not go back and forth from the commission. You have time to come up to the podium and speak on the topic that we're on at that current time. You have 3 minutes to speak. And then at the end of all the public hearings, we'll go back and consider those same topics for approval. Starting with the public hearing regarding application for conditional use permit with exceptions by Nick Mance to operate an elite tumbling factory located at 2821 North 15th Street. Anyone wishing to be heard on that one? Anyone wishing to be heard? Last call. Anyone wishing to be heard? Entertain a motion.
Motion to close the hearing.
It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Public hearing regarding application for conditional use permit with exceptions by Eric, excuse the pronunciation, I think it's Nave, to construct an office and storage buildings located at vacant parcel 592-815-06680. Anyone wishing to be heard? Anyone wishing to be heard? Last call. Anyone wishing to be heard? Entertain a motion.
Motion to close the hearing.
It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing regarding application for conditional use permit with exceptions by Brian Novak to construct a warehouse distribution center located at vacant parcels 592-814-70998 and 592-814-70999. Anyone wishing to be heard on this issue? Anyone wishing to be heard? Last call. Anyone wishing to be heard? Entertain a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Finally, public hearing regarding the proposed creation of tax incremental district number 26, the proposed boundaries of the district, and the proposed project plan for the district. Anyone wishing to be heard? Anyone wishing to be heard? Last call. Anyone wishing to be heard? Entertain a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Items for discussion and possible action. Architectural review of exterior remodel at 1202 Michigan Avenue. Elise.
The Plan Commission reviewed this item at the February 24th meeting where the commission requested the applicant come back with updated material. The applicant has now provided material samples and updated drawings.
Sounds good. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant here? Oh, would you like to come to the podium and update us on the changes since our last meeting? Anyone wishing to speak on your behalf? Just give us your name and start it.
Yeah.
Planning to go with the smart side.
So we're going from vinyl to smart siding.
Yeah.
And do you have the samples here?
They're
Oh, Joe,
turned down.
Joe has those. Okay. Is there any more you wish to add?
So what?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Commission members, any questions? Joe?
So this one's a little concerning. We had tabled this previously, looking for more accurate and complete drawings. And I think what we've gotten this time around are more recent, but still inaccurate and incomplete drawings. So we can try to talk through the things that are not evident in the package and see if we can get a consensus on those.
Okay.
The application does say just siding replacement. It appears there's quite a bit of window infill, window replacement, door infill. What exactly is the intended scope of the project?
Well, yeah, like I was told in last time, we was planning to paint the vinyl windows, some of it, and I bring not the type of paint, but the paint that we're planning to use on the vinyl stuff. So you may have it on hand.
The paint samples? Okay.
Yeah. So there are a number of windows and doors that look as if they're being infilled, but they're not called out on the elevation drawings.
Yeah, I think, so what he's referred to are, some of the existing windows would be painted. There's, I believe there's three glass block windows that would be changed to, those corners would be squared off. They're half-round glass block windows. Those would be changed to an aluminum window.
Aluminum,
An aluminum storefront window. Sorry.
Okay. And the main window at the center of the Michigan Avenue facade, looks if that's being infilled.
Getting rid of that.
No. Oh, yeah, we're planning to block that. Yeah, we're planning to block it out.
That would get removed and infilled with framing and siding to match the rest of the.
And that just ends up with a large blank facade on the most prominent street facade for the building. That it would be an ideal spot for a sign to do something there, but you've got a sign on the stair addition. So we've probably got all the signs you're able to do. Just concerned that elevation is getting very closed off. And as a public street, that's maybe not the best presentation to Michigan Avenue.
So you're saying you'd rather see that window as remain?
Personally, I would prefer to see something there rather than just that blank section of wall infill. Another question was that the renderings are showing what looks like a concrete base around the building, but it's not labeled. I don't know what that is or where you're carrying the siding materials down to.
Do you know what the intent was with that?
Put concrete stuff.
So they're intending to put a concrete curb there. I'm not sure of the detail of it yet.
Yeah, to add that in may be difficult. So knowing what that material would be. The sidewalk slope on the elevation drawings isn't incorporated. So just looking to see how that slope and the floor level with the materials actually interact there. That detailing could be important. And then had concerns above the Michigan Avenue entry door. The renderings and the elevations are cluttered there. I can't tell. There are a lot of lines and different blocks of material colors, but I don't know what's happening.
Which page are you referring to?
So ignoring the sheet drawing elevations, they have the wrong facades labeled. This would be the actual south elevation, so Michigan Avenue. What's labeled as the east elevation, either in the renderings or the line drawings, right above the new entry door, 102.
Yep.
There's just a lot of lines there, as if something's going on, but it's not clear what.
Can I compare this drawing to what you're looking at?
Sure, come on.
I can bring that up.
Just show them which one you need, Joe.
Lines as in,
So like right here, what is
oh, what is, okay, I got you.
And same thing here, all this. But it looks as if that is something in here, but
Okay.
I don't know what that is. And then the other items, there are a bunch of what I assume are just CAD orphans along the 12th Street elevation, things projecting above the roof line. I assume are just walls and things from the inside that are projected up through there, but they show up in all the elevation drawings, so I wanted to make sure those weren't intentional projections.
Yeah, I think you're correct. There's some revisions I think that are needed here.
And then the other one that I had a concern with was the roof line at the stair addition as it ties in at the front of the existing building. There's a corner of that roof that appears to be just sticking out and not integrated at all. Makes for a really messy connection. So if you look on what's labeled as the north elevation, the left side up at the roof, on the line drawings right by the section marker 3A.200, there's that little gray triangle sticking up above the hip roof line. And that's consistent in the other drawings.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying. Yeah, that would,
That would be an unfortunate detail. if
right,
it's
that would
intact.
be a better connection than that, I'm sure, to tie that into that hip roof.
So those are all questions, and I don't know if we have time or the inclination of the board to get into all of those to address them now, or if it would be more practical to table this again and come back with completed drawings.
Actually, our architect is trying to log in into Zoom or something like that, enjoy the meeting, but he's kind of like having issues with it. So if you give us a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's kind of problematic after the meeting started to get them logged in. That's probably why we're running into issues. If we know ahead of time, we can have him set and ready to go, but we've got people lined up there already, so it's kind of hard to get back out and go in. You won't be charged again for another meeting, but we would need to clean these issues up, come back with some clear and concise drawings. I think we want to support it, but it's hard to support something we're not clear on. We just don't know what we're trying to approve here today. That's our issue. If we can clean up the drawings, work with staff, and come back at our next meeting, the next one is in two weeks, correct? April 14th would be the next one.
All right.
And we'll put you on first on the agenda and get through this. Any questions?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion to table.
So motion to table.
It's been moved to table. All in favor, moved and seconded to table. All in favor of the motion, state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Number 10, application for conditional use permit with exceptions by Nick Mance to operate an elite tumbling factory located at 2821 North 15th Street. Elise.
Elite Tumbling Factory is an established chain of gym facilities that offer an alternative approach to youth tumbling and acrobatics. Elite Tumbling Factory offers a flexible approach as one low cost with unlimited classes, providing hands-on instruction from advanced tumbling instructors to maximize efficiency and safety. Classes are offered 7 days a week for ages 2 to 18 years.
Thank you. Are you Nick?
Yes, I am.
Anything you'd like to add regarding what you're looking for approval for here today?
Simply approval on the space as soon as possible to bring one of our locations out to Sheboygan. We've been out here for many years working with the community. We have a sizable group of athletes and families that have been waiting patiently. We think we found the right space, and we have a perfect opportunity to bring a team out, and we're anxious to get started.
Great. Commission members, any questions? Joe?
So question on the 2 possible overhead door installs labeled on the plan. Are those part of the submittal, or are those something that would come back?
Are you referring to the
future?
interior?
Sorry?
Inside?
No, those are on the east elevation, the back of the building, I believe.
Back of the building, I know, is a single door that opens, and then there's basically a room in the back, almost like a storage room, and there are 2 free opening doors that move in both directions.
So on the exterior wall currently, I don't believe there are overhead doors there, but there are 2 green rectangles on the plan calling for 2 possible overhead doors.
No, we're not looking to make any adjustments to the actual space, if that's what you're asking. We're taking the space as is. A little bit of demo needs to be done on the inside, but we anticipate a month project, and it'll be up and running.
So if we can just clarify that there are no exterior modifications as part of the application.
Sounds good. Any other questions from commission members? I'll entertain a motion. It's been moved and seconded to approve. Under discussion. There is no further discussion. All in favor of the motion state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you.
Number 11, application for conditional use permit with exceptions by Eric to construct an office and storage building located at vacant parcel 5928-1506-680. Elise.
Basis Building offers a variety of building services specializing in concrete foundations and flat work and residential remodeling. The applicant plans to build an office and heated shop and store equipment and machinery on the lot in an unheated storage buildings.
Great. Is the applicant present? Yeah. Eric, how do you pronounce your last name?
Sorry?
Your last name?
Neve.
Neve.
Like
Thank you very
sleeve.
much. Great. Is there anything you'd like to add on this topic?
No.
Okay. Commission members, any questions? Joe?
We're hogging the floor today. A question to staff. There was a comment in the package talking about this being a current parking lot for Emmanuel Lutheran Church. Just wanted to make sure that's not required parking for the parking counts that's being eliminated.
There we go.
No, that's not required to the counts.
Okay, thank you. And then this is just a usage approval?
Correct.
By
Yeah, we're
zoning,
not
there's
doing architectural
building
approval
yet.
at this time.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. Any further questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Motion and second to approve as submitted. Under discussion. Eric, do you have a timeline for opening?
Getting started building in the fall. We're pretty busy during the summer, but start in the fall and hopefully finish up during the winter.
Excellent. All right. No further discussion. All in favor of the motion state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you.
Application for conditional use permit with exceptions by Brian Novak to construct a warehouse/distribution center located at vacant parcels 592-814-70998 and 592-814-70999. Elise?
The site is currently 2 empty parcels within the suburban industrial zoning district. The 2 parcels are separated by South Taylor Drive, which will be vacated to create 1 parcel. A new warehouse and distribution structure will be constructed and used to facilitate loading and deliver vehicles. Applicant is requesting an exception to the street access points. There an allowance of 2 access points on frontages exceeding 300 feet. Applicant is requesting 4 access points on South Point Drive.
Great. Is Brian here? Oh, at the podium, please. Thank you, sir. Anything else you'd like to add to this discussion?
Just a couple of things. Thanks for the hearing. There's a few members here of the team that are with me. Just a quick introduction. Asher Cousin with Amazon is here. We've got David Mancuso is the architect for the project, and Jim Jones is here as well. He's a civil engineer. And Jim would have a couple of comments regarding presentation for this conditional use.
Okay, sounds good. If you could come forward. I'm sorry, Jim, what was your last name?
Jim Jones, project manager with BL Companies.
Sounds great, thank you.
Yeah, so as was mentioned, we're, seeking the additional driveway curb cuts for access to the site. And I would add that, with these facilities with Amazon, it's a long-standing standard of theirs of separating the different types of vehicular traffic on their sites because of safety concerns. And that's the primary reason driving the additional driveway that we're asking for, because we have separate access for van access. So we have 2 dedicated driveways just for the van access. There's a dedicated driveways for the associates that are going to be working at the facility, and then additional driveways for the truck access for the deliveries that are coming to the facility. And it's something that's, like I said, it's a long-standing standard and vital importance, keeping those flows separated. You will see in the drawing, there are some areas where there are some drives that, sort of overlap, but that's because to allow alternate egress for safety purposes, again, in the event that a driveway was blocked or something of the nature. I would also add, with the layout that we have, with the drives that we have access to, it lends itself to having a considerable amount of queuing on site as to limit congestion out on the roadways.
For our IT team, are you able to put the drawings up on the screens?
I think page 71, drawing 71 in the packet.
There we go.
There you go.
Great. So the 4 entry points, if you could point those out just for the audience, that'd be great.
Yeah, so at the cul-de-sac there, the one in the center would be the access for the associates that would be actually working in the facility, doing the shift work of the loading and unloading and such. To the north on the cul-de-sac is one of the primary van delivery van access points, and then to the south is the other primary van access point. You can see along the sides of the buildings on the east and the west are the canopies where the loadout occurs for the vans, and then from there the vans move to the south and would leave the site. We do have the 4th drive on the south side there, on the east, which is, like I said, is also an alternate driveway in the event that there was a driveway closure, or just to provide additional access for safety forces as well. On the north end, we're utilizing the existing curb cut on the road there, and then as a primary ingress, well, actually the ingress and egress for the semi trucks would be doing deliveries to the facility of the goods. And there's that crossover again through there to allow some additional access for the vans if they needed to relocate from one side of the facility to the other, or if there was an issue, blockage in one of the driveways.
So to clarify, we have the one existing and we're asking for 4 additional on top of that, correct?
We're allowed 2 per frontage, I believe.
Okay.
Yep. That's correct. You're allowed 2 per frontage, so they have frontage on both Stall Road and then South Point Drive.
Excellent, thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
That's all I had, unless you have any questions for me.
Okay, or anyone from your team, anyone else from your team that wishes to speak? Otherwise, I'll open it up to the commission. Great, okay. Commission members, any questions? No questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. Under discussion. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion state aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, opposed. Motion carries. Number 13, architectural review of a proposed warehouse and distribution building located at parcels 5928, 1470998, and 5928, 1470999. Elise?
The building will be constructed with precast and metal panel and include architectural metal panels at the main point of entry. Building colors will be gray with a blue section along the top of the building. The building perimeter will have a parapet wall to screen all roof-mounted equipment.
Great. Who will come up and speak on the architecture? Thank you, sir. Right there at the podium.
Hey, everybody. I'm David Mancuso, Principal Architect at BL Companies. Elise,
can you pull the mic a little closer to you? Oh, thank you.
How about now? Is that better? David Mancuso, Principal Architect, BL Companies.
Perfect. That helps.
Yeah, just like Elise said, the building is about 835 feet long, 260 feet across. It's metal siding. light gray towards the middle point with a blue band up at the top. It's got precast concrete panels around the perimeter. On the south elevation, there's some storefront you'll see there because that's the associate area with the break room and offices. And on the north side is, like Jim pointed out, is the inbound 18-wheelers. And then on either side of the building is the load-out canopies. And that's where the delivery vans that come to your house every day, they park under there, and then the associates from inside load the packages into the vans, and off they go. And that's pretty much the building in a nutshell. If there's any questions.
Okay, any questions? Joe, I'm sorry, did you? Yes, go ahead.
So under the architectural review portion, this is a big building. And trying to deal with the scale on this site, I looked to see if there was anything I thought you might be able to do to minimize the building further, and really didn't come up with anything. My opinion is that anything else modifying the building would actually complicate it and draw more attention to the size. So I think here the simplicity is really working for you. The basic materials are working well, and I think the canopies off either side help to break up the mass fairly nicely. So for a big building, I think this is handled fairly well. Thank you.
Anything else from the commission? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Motion to approve and second. Under discussion, any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, state aye. Chair votes aye, opposed. Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Finally today, consideration and possible action on a resolution establishing the boundaries of and improving the project plan for tax incremental district number 26. Taylor.
As soon as my mic turns on here. Hello, all. Thank you so much for being here today. We do have Phil. Phil is from Ellers, but Phil is also a Sheboygan native. So we welcome him back home, and we are excited to hear him walk through the TID project plan.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Phil Costin with Ellers, a Southsider, so don't take any offense to that. Been a few years since I lived here, but thanks for the prompting, Taylor. So we have two documents in your packet. One document is, well, three actually. One is a review, kind of a summary review of the project plan. I'm just going to walk through that with you tonight or this afternoon. We also have the full project plan, and I'm more than happy to walk through any elements of the project plan with you if you would like as well. But the summary really just gets to the core of why we're creating this tax increment district and shows the boundaries, the projects, and all of those. So the third document would be the resolution that is in front of you after my presentation. And just a reminder for those who haven't maybe gone through this approval process for a tax increment district, tonight is the only public hearing. When you create a tax increment district is done through the Plan Commission and not the City Council. If you approve it tonight, it'll go back to the City Council for approval. And then last week, the Joint Review Board met and they have a scheduled meeting after the council. So you're the first step in the three-step approval needed to actually create the project plan. So I don't know if you have the document that can be put on the screen or not that I was going to walk through, but if not, you have this in your packet. And thank you. Perfect. So let me just give you a little background on TID number 26, a couple of the key facts. This would be a mixed-use tax increment district, which has a maximum life of 20 years. That's the longest it can stay open. It's about 62 acres, encompassing really the Vollrath Company, and extends east to include the Old World Creamery and other areas suited for mixed-use development. I'll show you those maps in a little bit. We have project costs of upwards of $3 billion that have been identified in the project plan that include development incentives, administrative costs, half-mile radius project costs, including sewer, street, and sidewalk improvements to support this development. And the initial phase that's been provided by Volrath is about an $8 million new taxable value that would be added to the city. So a legacy company that's reinvesting into the city, ensuring that they hopefully stay here for another 150 years, retain jobs, and create new jobs in the city. On the next page, what are the calculations that are required to do is what's called a 12% test. And a 12% test is the same if you're in Sheboygan or in a small community like Random Lake. And that is, you can create tax increment districts as long as you're under 12% of the total value of the community. And I know there's been a lot of discussion of TIF statewide, but also in the city over the last couple of years. And just to put it in context, if you look at the second last row on this chart, you'll see that the city is at 4% of that 12% threshold. So what it really tells you is that the city has capacity to still utilize this tool if you choose to in the future. So that includes boundary amendments and new creations. Obviously, we expect with some of the creations that occurred over the last couple of years that we're going to see increased development, and we're going to close that gap a little bit with new development and redevelopment that takes place. So you're well under the 12% threshold, and you have the ability to create new districts in the future if you choose. On the next slide, we do have the boundary map. As you can see here, the Volrath site is the two main parcels to the left on the page, and then to the east again is the area, the Old World Creamery site and surrounding neighborhood. They're being added into this project plan because they have seen growth. Old World Creamery, and I know they have plans hopefully in the future to continue with that. So we do see this neighborhood as an area that could over time modify and maybe become a little more of a mixed use type neighborhood over the next couple of years. And that's really reflected in the next map that we have presented to you as well. You can see we have residential development, we have industrial development, and some institutional as well. When you create a mixed-use tax increment district, you're required to have two land uses at a minimum. We have residential, we have industrial here, and some institutional, which is really rail line to support this area. So no real significant change identified for the future land use map at this point. But if something would come forward from Old World Creamery, if they wanted to expand, that would have to be through an amendment. So we'd be back in front of you with any changes to the neighborhood that may or may not occur. On the following page, we have the eligible project costs. And you can see really there are four costs that have been identified. One is development incentives. As it's been laid out right now with Volrath Company, they would receive an incentive of $1.6 million. Now, that's not money up front. It's called a pay-go, pay as you go. Essentially, they create the development, they generate increment, and then a portion of that increment goes back over a period of time up to that $1.6 million. We also have sanitary sewer relay relocation that's required due to their expansion. That's about $258,000. North 23rd Street repairs, relocation, and sidewalk improvements to support this development is a little over $1 million. And then we also have some TID setup costs that have been identified as well. You'll see in the project plan, we do identify half-mile radius improvement projects. So even though some of these improvements are being made outside the boundaries, they're allowed to be made as long as we identify them in the project plan and on the on the project list. So you'll see the two projects that have been identified as half-mile radius are the North 23rd Street and the sanitary sewer relay relocation. They're just outside the boundaries of the district, but within a half mile, which makes them eligible expenses to be paid for out of the tax increment district. On the following page, you'll see a project cost location. If you go back a page, thank you. You'll see in here that we tied this back to the project list from the page before. So item number one, development incentives. purely for Walrath Company. Nothing identified for the Old World Creamery site at this point. We also have identified the sewer relay, the street and sanitary sewer improvements throughout the site as well. So you can see the location on this map of where these different improvements are going to occur as their expansion moves forward. As always, we do a financial analysis as part of our tax increment district, and on the following page, you'll see that we have identified some key components. One, working collectively with city staff and working collectively with Walrath Company, they project a value of their initial value of development of $8 million. So in a development agreement, which will be forthcoming, they'll have an $8 million minimum value requirement that'll be part of that development agreement. In the cash flow, our goal always is to make sure that there's enough increment, new tax revenue, to pay off all of the obligations and make sure that is done so that we don't run in the red. You'll see in a little bit as I go through the cash flow that we're able to accomplish that, but some of the project costs will have to be kind of paused a little bit, not the sanitary sewer, but some of the others, to make sure we have enough increment once the development actually occurs. And we're really expecting this district to stay open for the maximum life, which is 2047. Valuation is significantly more. We could close the district out earlier. So we'll kind of monitor that, working collectively with city staff going forward. So a couple of charts towards the end of this presentation. On the following page, you'll see where it says development value assumptions. Again, the only item that we have identified, that staff has identified for new value in this area at this time is the Walrath expansion at $8 million. I mentioned the old creamery site, but there's no defined plan at this point, so we didn't want to identify that and overinflate the increment being generated. So we try to be conservative in our approach in looking at what can truly be generated in new value. On the following page, this is a confusing chart for many with a few colors, but I want to point out really two items on here. One, because this is industrial development, we're not projecting that the property is going to appreciate in value. Now, it could, but a lot of manufacturing remains relatively steady or can actually depreciate over a period of time. So we're not showing property appreciation, and we're also not showing a change in the mill rate. So it's not just the city's tax rate, but also county, technical college, and the school district. So we know what's transpired over the last number of years is that we've seen declining tax rates. We expect that to level out at Ellers. So we're showing, again, relatively conservative here, a flat tax rate and no property appreciating, again, trying not to inflate what we show for the potential revenue in this district. The next chart is the overall cash flow. And as I indicated, our goal here is to make sure that this district pays off over the life of its district. We do show the capital projects being paid for out of cash flow. Now, in reality, the city may choose to borrow those funds in the future, which would eliminate some of the red numbers you see here. So we'll, again, work with the city to make sure that that's put together and structured correctly to make sure that this district cash flows over time. In the timeline on the last page, we do identify the steps, and I referenced this when I started, but the steps are very clear in the statute. One, we hold a joint review board meeting that occurred last week, Tuesday. They organized, we went through the project scope with them as well, but no decisions were made by them. Tonight is the public hearing, and again, we have a resolution for you to consider if you are comfortable with the project plan. Then it'll move on to City Council slated for April 20th. Again, there'll be a resolution in front of the council that needs to be approved. And then it'll go back to the final, for final vote by the Joint Review Board to consider a resolution. That meeting hasn't been scheduled at this time, but we will, in the near future, schedule that meeting once we get through a few of these steps. Once and if those are all approved, then everything gets filed with the Department of Revenue, and then they will hopefully certify it and send it back to the city as approved. So those are the steps that are required in the project plan, which I'm not going to read to you, and you'd be thankful for that. There were some statements that were made by the Volrath company they wanted inserted. And just to paraphrase, you know, they are thankful for the work collectively with the city of Sheboygan in their expansion plans, with the goal of remaining in the city, retaining jobs in the city, and hopefully creating new jobs going forward. So a legacy company that is reinvesting in the city is great. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have regarding process, the projects that have been laid out, or the cash flow.
Any questions from commission members? Kim?
Hello. I have a question, and I believe it shows up on page 5 of number 9. And I think it comes in at like the second paragraph of that area. And my question is, what does this mean? The city estimates that none of the territory within the district will be devoted to retail business at the end of the district's maximum expenditure period through 2047. I believe Old World Creamery has retail space, and Sherwin-Williams sits within this space. Are people thinking these are not going to be in business?
No, I don't think that is the case. We would expect they will, from my knowledge, they will still be in the district boundaries. There's no anticipated change to them. It's a correction that we would probably need to make in the final plan to identify what percent they are. I don't know, Old World Creamery, they have a retail component, I assume, to their facility?
I believe they do.
Yeah, we'll work with city staff to get that corrected, if there is.
Kim?
If I could hop in, thank you. That was recognized and will be in the final version of the project plan. There is intention for the Old World Creamery to still have a retail space. Currently, it's in the actual plant, so it doesn't have to be separated out. But if there's a future plan for that, then yes, it would be a different zoning code or use in the future. So that has already been recognized as an item that needs to be updated in the project plan.
Good. How about Sherwin-Williams?
So that is exactly the same. So we actually have language proposed that it says that the city estimates that less than 35% of the district will be retail space. So that is going to be in the next iteration of that project plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you're looking at page 5, number 9, I think you referenced, correct? We do identify that less than 35%, but we can modify the language in the other to make sure it's consistent.
Okay, thank you. Also, looking at the area that's labeled transportation, and that being the railroad, is that a working railroad through there, or does that have exempt status?
It is exempt status. I'm not sure if it's a working railroad.
I unfortunately do not know for sure, but as Phil said, that falls under exempt status.
And we have to have contiguous boundaries. That's why it's been incorporated into the project plan. It's a separate part. Weirdly, it's a separate parcel too. You don't see that very often, that the rail line would have a separate parcel number, but it does in this case.
Okay.
So it's been incorporated for that reason.
Go ahead.
Probably more of the process part. The Organizational Joint Review Board meeting held last Tuesday, March 17th at 4 p.m. Who was taking minutes at that meeting? I watched it, but I saw that there was Mayor Sorensen, Mark from the school district, and Tom from the county. and then a woman who arrived after the meeting started. Were there other people present and were minutes being taken?
I can answer that. Myself was present, Administrator Bradley and Director Krieger was also present. I do know that I personally took minutes. Those minutes have been in draft form and are currently being, reviewed with staff internally. The goal is to have those posted as soon as possible.
Okay.
To my knowledge, there was no public comment.
I'm sorry, what?
To my knowledge, there was no public comment at the meeting.
Correct. I didn't see it either.
No.
Thank you.
Anything further, Kim? No. Okay. Anything else from commission members? Joe?
Just one, I think you've answered the question probably, in the fact that this is just a draft iteration of the plan. There was toward the end, second to last page, the legal opinion advising whether the plan's complete and complies with the statutes. That's going to be by the city attorney.
Yeah, I can respond to that. Typically, we don't have a legal opinion until we're through the draft process, which this includes this meeting. So the goal would be to have the final document, the final letter opinion from, and it's actually outside counsel, Brian Winters from Von Briesen, that is providing it for the council action. Because the project plan can still change by public hearing.
Okay, thank you. No.
Anything else from the commission? Kim?
So our next steps with this, the Plan Commission today, we consider the resolution to create the district. On April 20th, City Council considers resolution to create the district with approval needed to proceed.
Correct.
And then May 4th to June 4th, I guess maybe that's a month for the final joint review board meeting to consider resolution to create the district?
That's correct. Tonight is the first step of the approval process, then it goes to council, and then final action is always by that joint review board group that includes all the different overlapping taxing jurisdictions. That last meeting has not been scheduled yet. We will be scheduling that once we get further through the process.
Right, and Ryan said it would be taken care of by email, getting that set up.
Correct.
During the meeting.
That's correct, but it'll be noticed as a public meeting still.
Thank you.
Anything further from the commission? Any other questions, comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution. It's been moved. Do we have a second? We have a second. It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Under discussion. There's no further discussion. All in favor of the motion state aye. Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Phil. Our next meeting date is tentatively April 14th. What is the pleasure of the commission?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor state aye. Chair votes aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.